Dear colleagues, welcome to the first meeting of the PCCB Network.
In the last 3 months since the launch of the network, we have been joined by 179 members from across 75 countries. The PCCB Network was launched to advance the work across all of these mandates, namely coherence and coordination, cross-cutting issues, awareness raising and stakeholder engagement, and identifying and addressing gaps and needs in climate-related capacity building efforts. It was decided to extend the pilot phase of the network until the end of 2021, which includes potential activities by the network at COP26.
The PCCB also agreed to enable the participation of external experts in the work of its working groups for the period of the PCCB Next Work Plan.
As you know, we do our best to ensure cross-cutting issues, including gender, human rights, youth, indigenous people, and local communities are integrated and mainstream through the activities of the PCCB, both internally and externally.
At PCCB 4, earlier this week, we discussed a concept note for a toolkit which could guide developing country parties' assessment of capacity gaps and needs with regard to the implementation of the Paris Agreement.
The Capacity Building Hub is a series of thematic days that are always organized during the COP. And unfortunately, with the postponement of COP26 to 2021, the hub is set to take place only next year. And at the moment, we are looking at how could we somehow replace the capacity building hub, for example, by organizing a series of virtual meetings or webinars on issues pertinent to capacity building for climate action.
The engagement of youth and interlinkages between climate-related capacity building and action for climate empowerment, ACE, have been in the spotlight of our discussions at the PCCB4.
I would like to mention that we plan to keep up the work on capacity building at regional and national level.
What is very clear is that the PCCB network, as a diverse and rich association of capacity building experts across sectors, regions and institutions, will have a significant role in the process.
Capacity Building Committee as sort of an agora. Agora is the Greek word for a gathering place. It used to be the square of the polis, of the city in ancient Greek times. And I'm using this word in the sense PCCB could be an agora as a space where capacity building providers continuously meet and exchange, either in more formal or also through informal ways. To inform each other on what's going on in the different niches of capacity building on climate change.
One of the things that we're trying to explore is also the lessons that we can learn from citizens' assemblies and different ways of bringing different stakeholders together.
Here again, the PCCB has started to play an important role. How capacity building should be seen as something more widely than I think it has traditionally been. It's around knowledge generation and co-generation. It's also about, I would say, the rewriting of narratives. I think capacity building, more than a goal in itself, is a goal in helping people think differently, helping ourselves think differently, helping ourselves be open to these new ideas and this new knowledge that comes into a space. So in that sense, capacity building is about not just working with affecting individuals, but working with and affecting institutions, even equally importantly. And in that sense, it is very much a long-term process.
So what we find really useful is the peer-to-peer knowledge exchange especially when we are linking countries among the same region. That's represent a real effective instrument to stimulate the country enhancement.
In line what we discussed just now, that regional perspective is quite important to boost the capacity building.
The regional element, particularly obviously of the climate weeks, I think has helped really increase the relevance of the discussions and help strengthen the voice and the partnerships within the region. And I think it has also helped create a stronger regional voice on issues of capacity building.
I wanted to thank you that the regional perspective is included into the activities. And I think there is quite a lot of need for capacity building on the regional and transboundary basins, especially from the perspective of water.
I'm really concerned about losing momentum with the postponement by an entire year of COP26. And I do hope that we can come up with some very practical ways of taking things forward. This is a very good webinar. We can have a series.
I also suggest that in next session, if you can have participants or members to express what they need and what they can offer.
And so as we do that mapping and build up this network, we're stronger together in terms of building new partnerships for projects or helping each other to build the capacity to even consider and host a project. And in our perspective, a lot of the youth have those strong ideas.
But I just wanted to highlight those emerging things and of course the role of digitalization and how we can really make the most of it. Thank you.
In this short time we have been a part of the network, we already achieved to send some of our key messages through the network, and I think that is very valuable for all of us.
Last point I wanted to share is around the PCCB being and can easily become even bigger in this sense, a platform for its partners to collaborate. I think as we've all been saying in one way or another, there's a lot of complementary skills between ourselves, and why not get started?
We could follow twofold by working throughout the spectrum of specific stakeholder categories, linking, for example, academia with youth constituency, and also on regional levels, then trying to coordinate and provide coherence to capacity building on regional levels.
First of all, that this idea of a capacity assessment toolkit with standards, approaches and templates is very welcome because it helps to analyze better the country needs and identify the local expertise. Encourage also the PCCB network should continue to encourage and facilitate the coordination among the different actors. They should also consider connecting members as mentors to coach other members of the network.
We would be extremely interested in maybe hosting seminars or webinars as we go up and joining others who want to do the same thing. I know that this opportunity of online interaction is actually quite good for knowledge sharing, and we should make the most of it going forward. And I really encourage the PCCB and the Secretariat for developing a more regular series of these events. And as always, we are very much on your side and with you to be able to participate in them.
It would be good, for example, to learn what other colleagues or stakeholders have been doing in monitoring and evaluating results when providing capacity building support.
We would be very interested to learn what other organizations are doing specifically in the assessment of gaps and also in terms of what they are doing as implementing solutions to address some of these gaps.
I think the members of the network have pointed out very good suggestions and very interesting way to move forward. And this is exactly what we wanted to have as a PCCB network. This kind of exchange, this kind of how can I bring some active contribution to the network, and how can we make climate action together be a reality, not only at the UNFCCC level.
At least from our experience, we collaborate a few times a year, particularly in an event, in a COP, and an SB, but why not do it more regularly and also in different formats? For example, we can start things as easily as writing blogs together. I don't mean the 77 people who are here, but maybe 2 or 3 of us, and then see how that comes through. And then we offer, of course, our platforms for expanding our voices.
We would like to work with PCCB to amplify the efforts of the network. And in particular, we see there's about 5 ways that we can do this. The first is through sharing knowledge, stories, and lessons of successful capacity building efforts.
Right, policy briefs, you can move to different sorts of knowledge products. But also, this is basically, here we have an offering for a meeting of minds regarding capacity building that we can really take far. And these collaborations can support really a more joined up work, both at SBs, at COPs, but also beyond.
Is to have a marketplace or a platform that would be able to facilitate those who have ideas for projects to implement with regards to ACE or capacity building, and to link those up with the kinds of resources that they need to achieve them.
So I'd like to thank everyone for engaging in this lively discussion, and we'll stop here. Please do not forget about communicating with us. We'll keep your suggestions in mind when designing the activities for the PCCB network for this year and next.
In July, the committee will develop a list of core activities to be undertaken under the umbrella of the PCCB network, considering, of course, the decisions taken in the PCCB4, which concluded yesterday. Also suggestions made during our meeting today from all participants, and also proposals submitted by members of the network before and after the meeting today.
Let me then close this session by thanking all the network members that made this productive meeting possible. And I'd like to stress that the strength of the network lies in its diversity, and that it's what will guide us in the work of network in the coming months and years. We encourage everyone to stay in touch with us, to share ideas, to take the initiative, and to provide feedback on their experience with the network.
And we look forward to working together to support our mutual efforts in building the capacity of developing countries and the most vulnerable to tackle the climate crisis.
We're very excited to bring more concrete ideas and proposals and expertise around that in ways that are useful to the network.
On this, UNDP is fully available and interested to continue to support the PCCB, to continue to support the colleagues involved in this.
And as always, we are very much on your side and with you to be able to participate in that.
I found the PCCB really a great team, easy to work with, and really open to listening with great ideas. So I think even that is so important when you're trying to build a partnership and to feel comfortable in that space. So I thank you all for that, for creating that space.